Well, in conclusion of my previous Black Friday video, I'd just like to say that I'm officially inaugurating 2 days of continuation of the Black Friday custom. Those days being a Brown Saturday, which is the day directly after Black Friday, when the dumpsters are hitting hard and hitting good. And I just call it Brown Friday because I noticed at my local hospital they had a sign up like the day before Thanksgiving. It said Brown Friday special or Brown Saturday special, free colonoscopies. And I thought it was a joke. It's far from April Fool's Day. I don't know. I don't know if it was a joke or not, but that was on the sign, so I adopted that. Brown Saturday. Today being White Sunday, and that is the second good day of dumpster diving, at least in my history, so I'm inaugurating a holiday today. And I'd just like to do a little message on food preservation, the end of the world, and calorie density, as well as human diet. I'm going to cover a few topics tonight. The main thing is, I've been watching some shows lately, like Doomsday Preppers, end of the world fever kind of people. In my opinion, I like the show because it shows some cool people and there's some good ideas, but it seems like the show was kind of biased by whoever the executives were who made the decision to downplay all those people and make them look like fools, because a lot of those people are really smart people. I don't think there's a right to live in fear, but I think that it's a good idea to be prepared. And as a man and as a human being, I need to be able to provide for myself and for the people that I love, or, at least do my best to be a part of the immediate family and the immediate people who surround me. You can think of that as my tribe or your tribe. And I think that the coming change in human consciousness will be a change away from the corporate system that we live in now, which makes us all anonymous human beings participating in this giant structure of which we cannot even perceive, to a new mind of local, family-oriented, tribal communism. And I think that is the mind state that people will need to adopt to adjust to this change in the global ecosystem, which is the planet is overpopulated, the planet has been destroyed by human deeds, and now it appears that something imminent is coming that is going to force us to reassess our worldview and the way that we live and act on the planet Earth. So, in summation, I think that people have to start on an individual level with their own minds. Anyways, I got lost where I was, but the point of this talk is food storage. I have limited space. Doomsday is not nigh, okay? Doomsday is not happening today. So, therefore, it could be a year from now, could be 6 months from now, could be tomorrow, could be never. Maybe any kind of doomsday, economic collapse, whatever, what have you, isn't going to happen within my lifetime. That's quite a possibility. I mean, I don't adhere to that school of thought, but it's a possibility. So, I'm not going to fill this entire garage, with food, because, God, just managing that much food would be a nightmare. And if you're going to have a stockpile of food that big, you would have to constantly be tending to that food stock, rotating out the stuff that's old and starting to decompose, fighting vermin, rats, other animals from getting in and eating your food, and not to mention, just that would be a waste of a garage because I have other things to do in the garage. And even if I could build a storage warehouse for food, I only need to have enough food and access to sustain me, my family, and my animals for one season. That's all I really feel that I would need, okay? Let's say that it's fall, and some economic crisis hits and I can't go to the grocery store anymore and get food. if I had enough food to feed everyone living here, my family and the animals, like I say, for one season, in the spring, I would be able to, it'd be ideal to have 2 seasons, okay, but in the worst case scenario, 1 season, in the spring, you can start growing and harvesting wild food. You can have a garden, you can kill one of the animals to make it through the dead spot. But basically, I feel that the transition from an economy of wealth and an economy where we can go to the store and get food into an economy where you can no longer rely on the infrastructure that supported you in the past, and you have to rely only on yourself and your own means of sustaining yourself. I feel that the transition would, in dire straits, you could be accomplished in 1 season. Now, I'd like to have 2 seasons of food, just to where, let's say that I couldn't get some plants growing in the spring, or shit was crazy and I couldn't even get out and harvest plants in the spring. Who knows? 2 seasons would be able to get me through, and that wouldn't take up a ridiculous amount of storage space, because space is a premium. And until I'm working on some ideas of creating caches, food caches, and storage methods and stuff, but right now, what I have is enough space to store 2 seasons of food. And since I'm making all the dietary decisions, I'm not buying any of this food, I'm getting it all from the dumpsters and from surplus, avenues, but I have to go through it all and pick out and say, hey, do people really need to be eating this? For example, caramel coconut, fudge striped cookies. Do people really need to be eating this? Probably not. There's not much nutritional value to it. It's completely processed. It's artificial. It couldn't sustain you. If you tried to live off caramel coconut cookies for a month, I'm sure that you would come up with more diseases than the guy who lived off of McDonald's for a month. But, okay, so what I'm going to talk about now is calorie density. I only have a given amount of storage space, so that means that I have to make some critical choices to try to get the most sustenance out of the least amount of space. So, case in point, David Jumbo cracked pepper flavor sunflower seeds. Would this be a good choice for me to store? Some people really like these. If you have an addiction to these, you probably might think that you might want to store some. Personally, I don't like having to deal with the shell. It's a lot of work. It's really salty. It tears in my mouth. And, most importantly, it's not really a good use of space as far as calorie density is concerned. This package right here doesn't take up too much space, but it's a fair amount of space. Weighs 6 ounces, 170 grams, almost a half a pound. Total in this entire package, 400, this contains about 500 calories. Not to mention a huge amount of salt. And so therefore, compared to something more calorie dense, like corn, however, this packet only weighs 4 ounces, much smaller, and within it contains the same amount of calories and not as much salt. This package could be taken, eaten by somebody, and it could get you through, it could be a meal. This package right here could be an entire meal. This package, on the other hand, however, could not be. And if you're trying to sustain yourself off just sunflower seeds for more than a day, I would fear the consequences. So, corn and nuts, grains, they all make a very efficient storage solution for packing the calories in and packing the nutrition in. These corn nuts are not far from a natural food. The corn was harvested, dried, maybe roasted or cooked, and then flavored and then packaged. So it hasn't been ground, which you lose a lot of nutritional value grinding things. It hasn't been pressure cooked or pasteurized. It hasn't been cooked to the point of destroying its nutritional value. Now, granted, this isn't just raw corn. If you go out and grab a corn off the cob, off the garden, and you eat that, it's going to have much more nutrition, much more vitamins, much more ability to sustain you. However, in a winter situation, in a dire situation, and even in everyday life, corn like this makes a good calorie source. Nuts, On the other hand, when it comes to storage, the top three things for me are dry goods, grains, and nuts. And they all three pack a lot of calories. Nuts especially pack a lot of different vitamins. Let's take this pouch of salted cashews here. Yeah, it's salted. Yeah, it's been roasted. It's not raw. 3 ounces, 450 calories. Sunflower seeds in a different form after having been cracked. They take up much less space. This package weighs 7.5 ounces and contains within it over 1,000 calories, not to mention good nutrients like iron and things in a natural form that can be absorbed by your body. I think nuts are a great way to store calories. And you know, when it comes to what happens if you need to feed your family and you can't go to the grocery store, you're not going to be able to feed your family and sustain them for very long off Nutter Butter Bites. You're not going to be able to feed your family for very long off Chips Ahoy. If you want your family to be healthy and vibrant and sustained at the same time, you need to start storing things like nuts, grains, flours. If I was paying for this stuff, I would buy 50-gallon buckets of grain. Wheat, I would buy rice, I would buy beans, nuts in a 50-gallon form. If you had a stack of 50-gallon barrels, let's just say you had 20, 25 barrels of dried goods like that, you'd be able to get your family through a winter, a one whole season easily. So, those are the kind of choices that I'm making now because I have a surplus of food available to me from the dumpster diving, and because I feel like it's an ideal situation to prepare for anything that could happen. Who knows if anything is going to happen? I don't know. I feel that it is, and I feel that it's logical that something, economically will happen. And I feel like that it would be a wise decision to prepare for such an event, even if it wasn't going to happen. So this is the conclusion of the Black Friday, Brown Saturday, White Sunday holiday. First year. This is probably going to get down in the history books, but the garage is pretty much clean except for the White Sunday load that I got here. And this load was great. It's all 90% human consumable. A bunch of grains, a bunch of nuts, a bunch of corn, a few snacks, a few nice little snacks, but everybody needs a snack now and then. So, oh yeah, and then on to top it all off, a box of gloves. Gloves. Some of them are a little crusty. Okay, but nevertheless, an entire box of gloves, even if only 5 of them work. I go through a lot of gloves around here. I wear gloves constantly. Yep. Looky boy out.